How's it hanging? Nice to meet you. I'm Nick, a solo game dev from Switzerland working on a Metroidvania game called Aestik. Today I'll talk about some of the smaller fixes and changes as well as my workflow for creating tilesets for the game's levels. There are quite a few devlogs for Aestik by now, with quite a few things that might be interesting for you, so feel free to check them out if you haven't done so already. So let's get into the video. There was a comment under a previous devlog asking how I create the tiles for the game, and I was actually surprised that I didn't think about talking about this topic in the devlog before. It's probably quite an interesting one for fellow game devs, so I'm happy to share my approach to the problem with you. Though keep in mind that this might not be the perfect way to do things. I just came to the conclusion that it's the best way for me, but you know, I'm kinda stupid. Anyway, let's break this down. Designing levels is a pretty straightforward process for me. I just take a black box, copy paste it and scale it all over the place to create the basic structure. Then I test out the level and check if it works from a gameplay perspective. If not, I go back and tweak some stuff until it does. There's really nothing more to it. All of the art is just, art. What I mean is that there are no collisions on the art assets, so I can already place enemies, spikes and other interactive stuff without worrying. The one exception I've made are smaller platforms. I draw unique art assets for those to create more variety for the visuals. These do have their own collisions. Now, you might have realized that the scene looks pretty off like that, so let's change this. For the tiles itself, I create these small sheets that consist of a few different pieces. I arrange them as I please to create different tiles. This works even for edges and corners, so it's a really flexible system. It's important to keep the sorting layers in mind though. If two pieces at the same sorting order overlap, the graphics will kinda glitch around, which obviously isn't what we're aiming for. To juice things up a little bit, I always have 3 layers of tiles. They're positioned at different points on the Z-axis, which creates a subtle 3D effect when the camera moves. The most important thing about this workflow is to plan ahead, because fixing stuff afterwards can be a little bit tedious, and I've been there. So that's my workflow. I hope that it's insightful. You might have a way better system figured out, but I'm okay with that too. But please, tell me. So let's look at the most recent changes to Aestik. Most of the changes I've made in the past week are actually pretty minor. Okay, to be completely honest, all of them are. But that doesn't mean that they're not important. So in the last video I've mentioned that I wanted to implement a low pass filter to create more impact. I actually managed to pull it off without any trouble. There's already a component in Unity that creates a low pass filter, so I really just had to control the value via script. The effect plays when the player gets hit. It's all about the game feel. As you can see, I also changed the visual effects when the player gets hit. I think that it feels much more natural that way than before. That's not all yet. I also changed some stuff regarding the boss fights. I've wanted to create boss battle music for quite some time now, and I actually started working on a theme for the first few bosses a while ago. Now I finally finished it, and I'm actually pretty proud of the outcome. It feels intense and it loops perfectly. The music starts when the battle starts, and when it ends, a small melody plays to create a satisfying end of the fight. That's probably the biggest change to the game I've made. Ah yeah, there are also coins dropping after you defeat a boss now, so you get rewarded for killing. Congratulations. There's one more small change I've made. Remember this friendly guy here? The first time you meet them, they tell you that everyone has gone insane, and they keep hiding under that rock. I've now made it so that when you go back there after you've made some progress, they're not under the rock anymore and try to attack you. Just a small change for some extra lore, but people who go back there might appreciate the little detail. So that's it for this week's devlog. If there's something you want me to talk about specifically, like my workflow with the tilesets and stuff like that, feel free to write it in the comments. I look at all of them while I still can. After all, we're growing pretty fast at the moment, which is nice. So thanks for that. And don't forget to leave your wife, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell.